Hi, sorry for the bad lighting. I hope you can hear me well. So, today I'm gonna tell you a bit of my PTSD with wars and just generally explaining why I have a very big anxiety about wars, rockets, knives, people running with knives. And kinda my army experience, but not that much. So, living in Israel, we are always susceptible to wars or like um, just attacks, terrorist attacks. And when I was little, that there was a time then suicide bombers was a really big thing here. Like people would blow up buses and malls and just that kind of stuff. So when I was 6, that was 2001, I went to my first class, like grade A, grade 1. I don't know how you say that. And at the time we had war warning from, I think that was Iran. I'm not really sure. Like one of those countries were planning to send missiles with nerve gas in them, like very dangerous stuff. And me, being 6 years old, going first time to school, I was going every day with a gas mask to school. Just imagine a little 6-year-old going to school with a gas mask. And in the gas mask kit, you had the gas mask and the filter for the gas mask itself, and an EpiPen pen, which is like if you accidentally inhale the nerve gas before you have time to put on the gas mask on, because it can, and or if you don't get in time to a shelter, because it can penetrate your skin, so you have to be covered. And we had our bomb shelters prepared, like taped and everything, with water and a radio and food and a bucket to go to if we need to. And the time, like we did not know if they're gonna attack, how long we would need to stay in the shelters. So we had that prepared for like a few months, just all the time. The shelter was just shut, closed all the windows and everything, just the door was open so you can get in as soon as you need to. And so if you inhale the gas or it touches your skin by mistake, me as a 6-year-old, I knew how to inject myself with something that kind of helps to deal with that. And they teach you how to inject yourself. You just take it off and just shove it up your leg, the needle, and it shoots the the antidote, I guess, and then you need to pin it to your shirt so they know that you did that. So me as a 6-year-old already, I knew how to put a gas mask on and how to shoot myself in the freaking leg in case of a bombing, and where to run away, because that was our reality. We came to school every day with the masks and we decorated them, being 6-year-olds. We decorated them and put stickers on them to make them kind of more accessorized and more approachable for kids. And we walked every day to school for a year with gas masks with us, just in case. And if you go to a friend's house, you take your gas mask with you, just in case, because, And like one day, my parents decided on a Saturday that would be a great idea to try the gas masks on and wake me up with them on their freaking face. So I wake up, me, a 6-year-old, to see my parents in a freaking gas mask, which is, I have to say, kind of scary. And they wanted me not to freak out about that. That's why they did that. And they put my gas mask on me. And I got freaked out so much, and it got stuck in my hair, and I cried vigorously because I was so panicking from the gas mask itself, and it being on me, and it being stuck on me, and I cannot breathe, and I just had a freaking panic attack from this freaking gas mask. And like, few years has passed, and kind of we did not really need them, like, to carry them with us all the time, but we did have to have them all the time in the house, just in case, because that's life here. And oh, I'm shaking. Don't like talking about that. And so in 2006 we did have the second Lebanon war. I think the first one was in 91. I'm not sure. Like, we had so many wars. We're only existing, like, Israel as a country, we exist since 1948, and we had so many wars, like more than 10, I guess. And one of them was the second Lebanon war, which was in 2006, which again we kind of were scared again, and we also needed to shut everything up again and store food in just in case, and have everything prepared to be denied of civilization, I guess, for a few days at least. You get evacuated somehow if you'll be able to, depends on the bomb and how much bombs gonna drop on the country and stuff. And sorry. And my brother fought that war, and he lost almost all of his friends. My brother is soon to be 33. He's 10 and a half years older than me, and he was in the army at a time, which we don't have a choice. We all go to the army when we're 18, boys, girls. That's just the reality here. Like, we don't have another choice. Like, it's not like if we don't go to the army, someone else would go. We just have to. And he lost almost all of his friends in front of his eyes at that war, which started because they, I think, started shooting rockets at us, so we reacted back, and that's how wars go in here, at least. And speeding up to 2012, I was in my 12th year of school, my senior year, and in November, like, all the time they kind of do just like bombing and terrorist attacks and shoot people sometimes, but like not severely as when we start, just going back and forth. So in 2012, in November 2012, there was like not a war, but more of an army action, I guess, which was led to, I'm shaking. That's hard. Okay, it happened because they started shooting rockets at us again. And I remember being at school in the center of my country, and the alarm go off, the bomb alarm, the rocket alarm, and we had to, in the middle of the class, run to shelter to not be dead. And there were falling rockets next to us, which was not so good. And there was so much terror, just all around, and people losing their houses. Just, I think there are no like winning sides in a war. I'm pretty bet that like the other people did not enjoy having the war too, because they were forced into fighting, like, by the terrorist groups that run their it's not a country, it's like the Gaza Strip. It's like it has its own municipality, which is run by a terrorist group, which is great. It's not like they have a choice, they're just terrorists, that's what they do. And they make them dig holes like in the ground from the Gaza Strip into Israel so they can send terrorists to kill and murder people here, because that's how they fight. And like they don't have an organized army like we have to protect ourselves. They just send, well, they teach like the terrorist ones. No, all the people. I guess there's good people here and there. So they teach their kids to become shaheeds, which is like a suicide bomber at like a very young age. And you can look online and see videos of like 3-year-olds walking with a fake weapon, screaming death to Israel in Arabic, because that's what they were taught, and like being 3, which is insane. And those people grow up knowing that everything they need to do in life is fucking murder, and that's it. So fast forward to 2014, which I already joined the army. I joined the army December 13, and in July, or I guess June, something horrible happened, which has started a war between us and the terrorists. Because one day, 3 teen boys, 16-year-olds, just 3 16-year-olds, think about yourself being 16, going to school and never coming back. They were waiting for the bus, and a car stopped, kidnapped them, and for 2 weeks we did not know where they were, and we looked for them, searched the whole country, and we still did not start a war or firing at each other or anything. We just wanted to find the boys. And 2 weeks later, we did. We found the boys, murdered, just dumped somewhere. We scattered the whole country. It is tiny, but still you need to look for something being hidden. And after that, we found a recording of one of the boys calling the police, but they couldn't hold the conversation long enough for them to know where they were. And in the conversation, you can, like in the phone call, you can hear them like trying to communicate the fact that they were kidnapped. And I think the police officers did not believe them, because that happens here, because teenagers do prank call the police officers a lot. So that was our mistake. But after that, they were shot in the head, the 3 of them. 3 16-year-old boys were kidnapped and shot in the head and thrown like garbage in the middle of nowhere. So after that, we started an army action like on that, and then we had a war on that. There were hundreds of rockets shooting at us every day. And luckily my base was underground, so like I did hear the alarm and I started to freak out and crying, but I was underground, so I kind of felt safe because I did not need to run anywhere because I was already underground doing my service. And we just night and day all the time there, just hearing the rockets. And one day I got a day off, like after 3 weeks in the war, I got a day off to go see my family. And I went out with a friend after I saw my family, and there was a rocket alarm, and we had to hide like in the middle of the street, and that was scary because we did see the bomb exploding because we shut it down. And yeah, just after that just became um, something that we call like a knife tifada, like the intifada, but with the word knife in front of it, because the terrorists decided, which actually a very smart decision if I were a terrorist, of course. It's like something that Israelis think all the time. It's like, if I were a terrorist, I would do that better, because that's just the mentality we have. Like driving in a bus full of people, you're like, oh, if I were a terrorist, I would just blow up here. That's just like kind of a mentality you get when you live in a terrorist filled terrorist filled country. And what was I thinking about? So yeah, they started to go places like, okay, they started running over people at bus stops. So we had to put like freaking boulders in front of bus stops, because people would get into trucks, like terrorists would get into trucks and start running over people and killing them and murdering them, and just waiting for the bus, like in every part of the country. And then they started just going with knives and fucking stabbing people in the street. You would just wait on a bus stop or walk in the street, and someone would start chasing you with a freaking knife, like in horror movies or something like that. Just and like one day I was like, that was 1 year after the war, which is, they still kind of do that with the knives. And actually, in the beginning of this week, like 4 days ago, a terrorist broke into a factory and murdered 2 people. I think I talked about that maybe in the last video, I'm not sure. And if not, here we go. And he murdered 2 people, one a father of like 3 or 4 people. He was like kids. I think he was 35. And the second one was a mother of a 1-year-old, and she was like 28, I guess. And he handcuffed them and like shot them in the head, I guess, or stabbed them, I'm not sure. But he murdered them, both of them, just for being a terrorist, because that's what terrorists do. They don't need really reason. And like 1 year after the war, I was at the army base, and I was supposed to go get lunch, and my commander was like, no, we have a lot of work, can you please stay in the office, and like I'll let you go in like 2 hours or something. So yeah, sure, fine, it's okay. Well, I'll just eat later, that's okay. And at the moment, like, it was around, I think 12:30 or 1 p.m. Suddenly we started hearing screams and cries and like ambulance sirens, and apparently a terrorist decided to run with a knife outside of my army base, which is like, I cannot say where it is, confidentiality, I guess. And he started running around with a knife and stabbing a freaking soldier, like a girl soldier, which is like scarier, because that was just fucked me up so badly. And when we were supposed to have a commander exchange ceremony, like when one goes away and a new one comes, you have a ceremony of like giving the torch, I guess. And we were supposed to have the ceremony of the exchange of the new commander. And when all of that happened, and I came to one of the officers and I asked him, like, what happened? He said, oh, a soldier was just stabbed to death. And I started freaking out and having a panic attack and crying, and I just didn't understand, why are we continuing with the ceremony, and when something horrible like that just happened, and crying and screaming at him, like, how do you think that is even okay to keep going and doing, like nothing just happened, like a person got fucking murdered right now, and we're just pretending like everything's okay. I could have been there. I could have been outside, and I could have been that soldier. Luckily I'm not, and luckily I'm still here. Like, but some days I'm thinking about the fact that, it could have been any of us at that moment. It could have been someone from my family, it could have been one of my friends, and luckily, like, I didn't experience loss in that, like, war or any of that. Just luckily me. But I know a lot of people that did lose people they love, you know, in those actions. And it sucks, but that's our country. And, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that even if I had the choice not to join the army, I would still go, because, like, if we don't do it, like, no one will protect us. And you can see in the media, the world media, how much we are being frowned upon for protecting ourselves from people running with knives in the streets and stabbing people. Like, in Jerusalem, you have a train that is like, you don't have stations for it. It's like electric train, like a tram in Europe, and you can get in, like, on the street on it. And a girl, or I think that was a 13-year-old girl, she got on the train and started stabbing people. A 13-year-old girl started stabbing people. Like, just, that is unimaginable for me. Terrorists being so young, because they know that no one will do anything for kids, because they're just brainwashing them. But yeah, to conclude this video, I know that's a very long video. I'm probably not gonna edit it anyways. And I just want to keep it raw and emotional as much as I can. But yeah, 4 years passed since the war, and we still face terrorist attacks. Not daily anymore, but I used to walk terrified home as a soldier, because they were looking for soldiers to kill and murder. But yeah, I would still do that, because that's our responsibility to protect this country. That, well, let's not get into the politics of do I like living here or not, but that's my country, and, like, I have no choice to protect it, because no one else will. And people that doesn't join the army by choice, not because they have no choice or mental illness, they cannot join. People that try and get out of the army because they say that the country did nothing for me, so why should I do something for the country? Those people I look frowned upon, because just, who the fuck are you to say that? But, you know, the army doesn't suit for everyone, and that's okay. But again, like, if you have your reasons, that's okay. But if you're just, like, not going because I just don't want to waste my time and do something for no one and blah blah blah, people have died for you to be here, and people have died for me to be here, and luckily I am here talking to the camera and rambling for so long. Well, yeah, I'm gonna finish this video off, because that's really too fucking long. Thank you for listening. I hope that was not too depressing, and yeah, I hope that interested any of you. Bye.